Right now, a Madison school district teacher is on leave tonight, accused of being involved in a possible altercation with a student. We'll hear from the girl's mother just ahead.
And the frightening plans that prosecutors say an alleged Madison bomb maker had for the UW campus.
Plus, she is a one-of-a-kind fan. Tonight, how the Packers organization is recognizing her passion for the green and gold.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Madison Metropolitan School District put one of their teachers on leave after video shows him shoving a student to the ground.
Our Amy Reed spoke with the mother of that student today, and she joins us now to share what their family is going through. Amy?
This mom is upset. She's tired and she's worried for her daughter. She said this experience has been traumatic for her little girl, so much so that she hasn't been able to go back to school since it happened last Wednesday. And to make matters worse, she believes this teacher, who serves as a positive behavior support coach in the district, should have known better.
When a parent sends their kids to school, they hope for safety. Makia Price is no different.
I don't know. The whole experience is just traumatic and devastating and just confusing, and I'm just super disgusted at the whole incident that, I sent my kid to school to learn, and that's a place where a mother send a kid to be comfortable in. I just feel violated in so many ways, me and my daughter, that this even happened to her.
Last week, Makia got a phone call from her daughter saying she'd been jumped by her teacher. When she got to the school, her daughter was crying and holding 3 braids she said had been ripped from her head. Her daughter said this started after her and another classmate sprayed too much perfume in class. What happens next, we don't know for sure, but surveillance video from the hall outside class shows what happens later. And though we can't see it until the investigation is over, Makia did, and she called her pastor, Marcus Allen, to watch it with her.
Like a tall man, an 11-year-old girl being pushed from one out of the classroom to the other side of the hallway and then falling on top of her is a very disturbing sight to see.
Madison Metropolitan School District has put the teacher, Rob Mueller-Owens, on leave and said he will not return to Whitehorse Middle. In a statement, they said in part, "As a district, we take any situation of this nature very seriously. All of our students need to be safe and supported in school, and we have a thorough investigation process and protocol that we follow." Mueller-Owens, who was acting principal that day, works for the district as a positive behavior support coach, even traveling to the White House with the superintendent to become an expert on restorative discipline practices. To Makia, a substitute teacher in the district, that just makes it worse.
That's the devastating part about it. That's the most disgusting part about it, to have that much education and to have that much training and that much knowledge and to be certified with kids and not follow protocol. I think that's the part that hurt me the most and disappointed me the most.
The key piece to Makia, her allies, the school district, and police is what happened inside that classroom. Currently, police are still working on figuring it out.
Amy Reed reporting tonight. Amy, thank you.
A Rock County teacher arrested for allegedly sexually assaulting a student is at home tonight after being released from jail. 53-year-old Scott Abbott will wait a month before appearing in court. School administrators told us off camera today that the arrest was made based on claims of an assault that happened this month. One student came forward as a victim and another as a witness. We learned today that shortly after Abbott was booked in jail, he was released. Beloit PD says this was at the discretion of the district attorney. He has a tentative court date set for March 26, but is currently not facing any charges.
All right, to weather. Madison has declared a snow emergency for tonight. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti now with our first alert forecast. Gary?
Eric, that's snow emergencies for the snow that's already fallen. We're not expecting anything more in the way of snow accumulations tonight, but still, it's just another one of those storms that has been coming through with very regular intervals over the last month or so. On Doppler track, the more persistent areas of snow that we had this morning have now moved northeastward into Canada. There are a few flurries that have been moving through parts of southern Wisconsin. It's actually with a surge of colder air coming in from the west, and those should be gone before too long. High temperatures, even with the snow, we had a little over 3 inches here in Madison, but we made it up to 34 degrees. Temperatures are mainly in the 30s. Now they're around 30 degrees, but notice they are starting to drop a little bit quicker off to the west, especially west of La Crosse. That's because skies are clearing out there, and winds also out of the west and southwest between about 15 and 20 miles per hour, are dropping wind chills from the 20s here to the single digits out to the west. By tomorrow morning, look for temperatures to be down into the upper teens. We'll see mostly sunny skies for tomorrow, but it will be a slightly colder day with a high temperature of 29. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
Gary, thank you. A prosecutor alleges that a man whose Madison apartment was found to contain homemade explosives appeared to be planning an attack on the UW campus. Brian Campbell pleaded no contest last month to second-degree reckless endangerment and possession of improvised explosives. Police seized what appeared to be bomb-making materials from his Timberlake Trails apartment on the west side last year. These photos taken inside that apartment made public today. Assistant DA John Rice says Campbell had searched the internet for instructions on making explosives and had drawn maps of tunnels on the UW-Madison campus. To see all 75 photos from inside that apartment, go to our website, channel3000.com. One person died today in a multi-vehicle crash on Highway 26 near Watertown. Shut down the highway for more than 5 hours. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Department says a car rear-ended a tanker truck around 11:30 this morning. Shortly after, a third car hit them, causing one of the vehicles to burst into flames. One person was killed, at least another suffered unspecified injuries. All of the northbound lanes were reopened about 4:30 this afternoon.
Cash bond was set at $50,000 for 22-year-old Jerome Winslow. He is the man accused of violently assaulting a 19-year-old woman on Langdon Street in downtown Madison. During an interview with police, he admitted to punching her several times. At his court appearance today, he was charged with 5 felonies, all with repeater modifiers. The investigation into the alleged attack on actor Jussie Smollett has taken a big turn tonight, going from a victim to a suspect. Police are working with his attorneys to turn himself in. He told police he was attacked by 2 masked men late last month in Chicago. He was charged this evening with disorderly conduct for filing a false police report, which is a felony. Last week, 2 brothers were questioned and held after they were spotted on surveillance video the night of the attack. Today, they told police Smollett paid them to stage it.
City of Janesville introducing its new fire chief, hiring Ernie Rhodes for that position. Prior to coming to Wisconsin, Rhodes served in multiple capacities in the state of Missouri, both as fire chief for smaller departments and also in state government. Rhodes will take over for Chief Randy Banker, who announced his retirement last year. Governor Tony Evers vetoes an income tax cut bill today, one that passed both houses in the Republican legislature. State Democrats had called that bill a stunt by Republicans. They wanted to tap a budget surplus for the tax cuts. The governor proposing his own income tax cut and plans to include it in the state budget that he will unveil next week. He and the Republicans had agreed on a middle-class income tax cut, but disagree on how to pay for it. Caregivers in Wisconsin could have some financial relief under a new bill at the state capitol. The bipartisan proposal would give a $1,000 tax credit to caregivers who take care of a family member 18 years or older. Stephanie O'Keefe takes care of her mother, who was diagnosed with a rare form of Alzheimer's at just 58 years of age. She and her father provide care 24/7 to her mom, creating many challenges for the family.
You can't just go out to dinner or go take your kid to the museum for a day on the weekend. It's not really possible to do the things that normal families do.
Now, to qualify under the bill, an individual caregiver would have to make less than $75,000 a year, and a couple would have to make less than $150,000.
President Donald Trump says he will let his new attorney general decide whether or not the special counsel's report should be made public. That report looking at Russian interference in the 2016 election and possible collusion is expected to be completed in the next few weeks. The president's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, will testify publicly before Congress a week from today on February 27th. They will cover an array of topics linked to his former boss. Earlier in the day, a federal judge granted Cohen's request to delay the start of his prison sentence. He will now have 2 more months of freedom before starting his 3-year sentence. The decision cited health and recovery needs, and prosecutors did not object to the extension. The sentence was slated to begin on March 6th, but will now start in May. And now there are 2 vying to be Madison's next mayor. Mayor Paul Soglin and former Alder Satya Rhodes Conway came out on top last night, but there really wasn't a runaway leader, so this race is still very much up for grabs. Soglin beat Rhodes Conway by just 323 votes. He won with 29% of the vote, Rhodes Conway 28%, and third-place finisher Mo Cheeks took 23%.
Because the vote was so split and so fragmented, both will have to work very hard. I use the analogy of the mayor is sort of a boxing analogy, that the mayor, Mayor Soglin, is the champ, and if you're going to beat the champ, you don't win on points, you have to knock the champ out. So I think for Rhodes Conway, she really has to sort of dig deep, get into the grassroots.
At a press conference today, Soglin said his proven track record is what sets him apart. Rhodes Conway says she's banking on voters wanting a change from his administration.
First responders rescued a dog that had fallen into freezing water this morning in Rock County. According to a Facebook post by the town of Beloit, the dog was out on a morning walk when it escaped its owner, took off running. A neighbor later saw the dog in the water and called 911. First responders were able to save the dog in a water rescue operation. The post said that the dog was only shaken up and cold before she was returned to her owner. The Green Bay Packers have announced the newest member of their Hall of Fame. Amy Nelson's selection as the 21st member of the Packers Hall of Fame was announced this afternoon at Lambeau Field. She was voted the winner out of 10 finalists, 9 of whom were present today, and the contest ran in January on Packers.com.
I'm very happy about our team.
Amy has been a tried and true lifelong Packer fan for as long as she recognized the Packers when she was just a wee little baby. So she is really, really into it. She follows the game. She knows the players. Major fan. Number 1 fan, in fact.
Amy, who has Down syndrome, memorizes the Packers' schedule every year, even memorizes the players' jersey numbers each season, and she will now have her name permanently displayed in the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame.
Kudos to Amy. That's great.
Still ahead tonight, mentally dealing with the seemingly non-stop snow.
And a tradition dating back to the 1960s lives on in northern Wisconsin. We'll tell you about Snowy Cromer, the snowman, when we come back.
Welcome back. After another day of snow, some of us are left wondering if it will ever stop.
For others, the impacts of the snow are more serious. According to Journey Mental Health Center, the winter can be more than just a bummer to people who suffer from seasonal affective disorder.
Those people may be sleeping much longer than they would normally sleep, taking lots of naps, not reaching out to friends and family, staying home from work, not getting the exercise that they would normally want to participate in. They may withdraw.
But there are a few surefire ways to start boosting your mood. Force yourself to take part in activities you know to be beneficial that can alleviate the symptoms, like diet, exercise, increased social interaction. According to Letman Shu, seasonal affective disorder tends to emerge between the ages of 18 and 30 and is more common in women.
Or you can just have fun with it. When life hands you feet of snow, you just build a snowman, right? Well, this is in the Northwoods. The long-standing tradition dating to the 1960s, it is back this year. Exactly what they're doing there is Snow Me Cromer, the snowman, back once again in Minocqua. A 3-day process here. Started Monday with the help of a local company that piles up the snow inside a fence for the 30-foot wide base.
We can spray them down then with about 1,000 gallons of water the first night to freeze them solid.
Yeah, it's quite a process, like a wedding cake of sorts. The top 2 pieces go on day 2, sprayed with another 1,000 gallons of water. Then they remove all that fencing. His eyes, mouth, and buttons are scrap pieces of wood. His nose, a traffic cone. The pipe, wood and fiberglass, and the smoke, a trash bag. The hat, courtesy of his namesake from the Upper Peninsula, the Stormy Cromer.
And we want to remind you about our Day of Warmth telethon happening tomorrow. News 3 Now is partnering with Energy Services, Inc. From 4 to 6:30, we'll be taking your calls and donations in a phone bank, and you can also donate all day online.
When you're the weatherman, what do? You snowblow all your neighbors' driveways, right, Gary?
Doing something good, Gary.
The timing was great. Everybody's at work, and I just happened to have the snowblower out. Of course, my dog, anything more than 3 inches, it's still
You'll lose him, and he's white, too.
He's white, so I figured I'd go, clear off a path for Joe, and just kind of kept on going. If you keep doing that too many times, though, you're going to run out of gas, especially the way things are going this winter. And unfortunately, we just keep adding to the snow. Here are some of the snow totals that we had earlier today. Officially, Madison, 3.3 inches at the Dane County Regional Airport, about 3.5 inches here at the station. Many locations were in the 2 to 5 inch range over southern Wisconsin. But now we have alert days in the forecast for the next storm system. This will be from Saturday into Sunday. We start out with some snow, sleet, and freezing rain late Friday night into early Saturday. Then that changes to rain during the day on Saturday as temperatures get up to around 40. Colder air moves in Saturday night. We change back to that mix of precipitation, and then eventually over to snow early in the day on Sunday. Could see several inches of snow accumulation before that comes to an end. Now, as we take a look at Doppler track, the snow from this morning has raced to the northeast and now is into Canada. The main area of low pressure, the upper level low pressure system, is still spinning over northern Minnesota, so all the snow kind of rotating around that. If we take a look at the European computer model future track snowfall totals, this is for Sunday into Monday. You can see the potential, at least for somewhere between about 8 and 10 inches of snow, mainly to our north and west. Now, the U.S. GFS computer model, a little bit less in the way of snowfall, probably more, at least up toward the Eau Claire area where the heavier totals will be. Here in southern Wisconsin, we might end up in the 2 to 4 inch range. But ice could be a problem. The GFS computer model from the U.S. government showing about 1/10 to maybe 2/10 of an inch of freezing rain and sleet. But the European computer model, much more bullish on that, perhaps up to a 1/2 inch of ice, and that would be again from Friday night into Saturday morning, and then again Saturday night. So that could lead to some really slick travel if that does pan out. The live view from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison. Flurries have ended, at least for the time being. Our high today 34, the low at 23. Temperatures drop back now to 31 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. Winds out of the west-southwest at 14 miles per hour. Wind chill is at 21 degrees. The parade of weather systems across the Pacific Ocean continue on. Very strong jet stream passing just north of the Hawaiian Islands. You can see the split flow in the jet stream developing a big storm system in the Gulf of Alaska heading toward western Canada, but a couple of weather systems behind it. It really remains to be seen how far south these will be able to dig, pick up moisture from the Gulf of Mexico as they head northeastward. But this one is the one that we're looking at for the weekend already over the western part of the country. This storm system is the one that we just had heading off to the east, bringing wintry weather from New England and the mid-Atlantic states up into our part of the country. And then this storm just kind of winding itself down, the cold air wrapping around it. You notice temperatures are actually colder to our south and west, and that's the way our cold air is going to come in, at least for tonight. So our forecast calls for low temperature eventually dropping to 18 degrees. The skies turn partly cloudy. For tomorrow, look for sunny skies, a little colder than today, though. High temperature topping out at 29 degrees. On future track, notice the skies clearing out overnight. That will allow temperatures to drop into the upper teens. Temperatures will only rise a few degrees tomorrow, probably into the upper 20s. Then tomorrow night, even though we'll have an increase in clouds, temperatures will still be in the single digits, and then we'll come right back into the mid-30s on Friday before that wintry mix of precipitation develops late Friday night into Saturday. Snowfall amounts, again, probably heavier farther out to our north and to our west from this storm system, but you can see that wintry mix of precipitation over the weekend, then another storm system with perhaps some snow from Monday night into Tuesday, and the temperature is really cold toward the end of next week. That's the beginning of March. We're talking about low temperatures around zero and wind chills down to 25 below zero by a week from Saturday morning.
That's supposed to be a meteorological start to spring, right? March 1st, is that right?
You can't tell by looking at that.
Oh, heck
No,
no.
definitely not. Gary, thank you.
Okay.
An emotional Steve Stricker calls it a dream come true. We'll hear from the new U.S. Ryder Cup captain in sports.
Having Steve Stricker be the United States captain for the Ryder Cup in 2020 just made sense. With the Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits in September of next year, why not have Wisconsin's favorite son lead the U.S. team? Stricker accepted the position today as a lot of familiar Wisconsin sports personalities helped out at Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee, including former Badger greats Alondo Tucker and Mark Tauscher. Stricker played in 3 Ryder Cups. He was a vice captain in 2 others. He was a U.S. captain for the President's Cup. His reaction to being Ryder Cup captain, the usual. He cried.
I'm an emotional guy, but truly a dream come true. You know, an honor to represent the PGA, the competition itself, and truly humbled, really humbled by this. You know, some people see this and they don't think I'm very passionate about or fiery about playing the game of golf and what I do for a living, but deep down, I'm very competitive. We want to win this more than ever.
The WIA State Individual Wrestling Tournament begins tomorrow at the Kohl Center. Division I preliminaries start at 3 with Division I quarterfinals at 5:15. We're pleased to announce a bonus Prep Mania game of the week. We'll visit Lodi for the Division III boys basketball tournament game between River Valley and Lodi next Tuesday night live at 7:15 on channel3000.com. It's Wednesday night basketball at the Kohl Center. Big Ten women's basketball as Wisconsin hosts Illinois. After tonight, senior Marcia Howard has only 1 more home game in her Badger career, and she seems set on making her final games memorable. Tonight, Howard leads the Badgers with 27 points. She also has 10 rebounds as Wisconsin hangs out of the lead in the second half. Now, here's how you run a play to end a quarter. The pass to Suzanne Gilreath, who shoots the 3, holds the pose, and makes the 3. Big Ten wins have been hard to come by, but the Badgers get one tonight. Final score, Wisconsin 75, Illinois 67. That's the Badgers' 4th Big Ten win of the season. 2 of them are against the Fighting Illini. Next up for the Badgers, a trip to Rutgers to play the Scarlet Knights Monday. Big Ten men's basketball. Michigan State's Nick Ward out indefinitely with a hand fracture. Tonight, the Spartans host Rutgers. State trails by 7 at half, and then Cassius Winston takes over. Winston scores 28. Xavier Tillman, a career-high 19 points, 10 rebounds. Final score, Michigan State 71, Rutgers 60. So the Spartans now have a half-game lead on Michigan and Purdue atop the Big Ten standings. The Badgers are 5th, a half game behind Maryland. That 4th-place spot is important because the top 4 teams get a 2-day bye in the Big Ten tournament. Big game in college basketball, North Carolina at Duke, and the big news in the game just 33 seconds into the game, Duke's Zion Williamson blew out one of his shoes, but also suffered a knee injury. He didn't play after that. Still no word on how bad that knee injury is. North Carolina pounded Duke at Cameron Indoor, 88-72. And at Fiserv Forum tonight, 11th-ranked Marquette hosts Butler. The Bulldogs lead for most of the first 30 minutes, but then Marcus Howard gets a 3 and 1. He scores 17. Marquette wins 79-69. Villanova lost, so the Golden Eagles alone in first place in the Big East. And we'll be right back.
Here's a 10-day forecast. Next winter storm this weekend, followed by perhaps another one Monday night into Tuesday, and then much colder weather at the end of next week.
Gary, thank you. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.